I want you to think of your mind like a cup made of mud. Now, imagine the mud is made of feelings like anger, lust, jealousy. Now, when you pour water into that cup, what do you think happens to the water? The water gets polluted by the negative feelings. Now, imagine if this cup is made of feelings like kindness, empathy, patience. What do you think happens to the water now? The water becomes even more nutritious. It becomes even better. And I think that is how our mind works. Have you seen how people are not able to talk nowadays? Have you seen how they turn every conversation into a debate? Have you noticed that instead of trying to understand each other, we are always trying to stake out a sense of victory? Like we are always trying to win? But what are we trying to win? Now, if you see the world around us, we can see that there are a lot of problems. There are wars going out in so many countries. There's unrest, there's distress, there's so much stress inside people. There's discrimination for race or color or religion, and we are so divided nowadays. We are so divided today. We are segregated, so separated, even though we know that all of these things are not the things that we want. We know that we don't want to be angry. We know we don't want to be violent, but we are still that way today. At the end of the day, I think everybody wants peace, right? But in trying to strive for that peace, we disrupt it. We make it worse for everybody. And look, I'm not trying to blame you. But I am saying that this is the way that maybe we have become. We're just not able to communicate with each other. The other day I heard this conversation of Jiddu Krishnamurthy, and it just stuck with me. I mean, it was amazing, the things he said, and he was talking about communication and what it actually means and why communicating effectively is so important. Krishnamurthy said that communication comes from communion. And I thought that was so interesting. Because I had never thought of communication like that. We always think of communication as putting our point forward and we speak or we saying something that will make other people impressed with us, that we would prove a point. Somewhere it's like we're not trying to understand what other people are trying to say. We only want to say what we do. And it's like, say you meet somebody who's also into philosophy, and you meet them and you say, hey, you're into philosophy, I'm also into philosophy, do you want to discuss it? And then you go and you try to talk to them, and you realize that actually they don't want to talk about philosophy. They don't want to focus on the argument. They want to care only about themselves. It's like they're trying to out-philosophy you. They're trying to prove that they are smarter than you by proving that they know so much more about philosophy than you do. But if you do that, we are not actually tackling the argument at hand. We are not talking about philosophy, because philosophy is actually about focusing on what we are talking about. It's about the way of thinking. It's about, about the argument, about the truth, not about you or me. And that is why I think that communion, understanding communion, is so important, because communion means that you and me can stand side by side and look at the same reality, that we can observe the same truth, because truth is a teacher for both of us. We are both students. It's like, imagine that you and me are looking at a rainbow, and instead of looking at the rainbow and saying, oh, I like this color so much, and maybe this is the best color in the rainbow, that, you should also feel that way. Instead of trying to convince me and trying to win over me, why don't we just sit and we look at that rainbow and we take it in and we feel it and we enjoy it and we agree that this is a beautiful reality. That is when we are in communion. And only when we are in true communion can we actually communicate, because we look at truth in the way that we can observe. If you try to only make people understand your version of the truth instead of that truth, then you are not proving anything. Now, Krishnamurthy says something that is even more interesting to prove his point. He says, what if we imagined, or actually he doesn't even tell us to imagine, he says it like a fact, because I think it is. The world is me, and I am the world. Isn't this the most interesting sentence ever? It's very simple, and maybe it even sounds profound or poetic, but honestly, I think this is one of the most uncomfortable sentences ever. Because I think what Krishnamurthy is trying to say is that if you criticize anger in the world, then you are acknowledging the anger that exists inside you. If you are complaining about jealousy, then you're criticizing the jealousy inside you. You're acknowledging it. Same thing with greed, same thing with fear, same thing with lust or any other emotion like that. Everything that exists outside exists inside us. And only until we can solve what is inside us can we solve what is outside. I think so many of us have not even conquered ourselves. I think none of us have conquered ourselves. And because of that insecurity, we go and try to conquer the world. And we try to make a place inside that world that we can call our own. But if we do that without conquering ourselves, we are only creating a place that is a reflection of our own internal conflict. You are not creating a better world. You are only creating a world which is a reflection of the conflict inside you. The thing is that the world can be beautiful if we can all come together and look at it like a communion. We can all try to understand each other, to look at truth in the same way, and to just exist instead of trying to be better than the other person, instead of trying to outmaneuver each other. And look, I understand things like business are important, things like money are important, and I know that somewhere we have to compete with each other, but it's like there is really no competition. Competition, if you believe that competition exists, then you've already lost. And in a way, these things like war, things like unrest and all these things are just a much scaled up version of the situation that is inside you. It's basically just two children who are fighting to convince the other that they are right. But by war, they are doing it in the worst way possible. Because everybody in the middle just get hurt. And you actually prove nothing. You just cause more violence and more anger, and you're just harming everybody. The thing is that basically what I'm trying to say, that at the end of the day, you cannot control the forest. You cannot control all the trees, all the branches. You cannot control or you cannot shape how the forest looks. The only thing that you can control is the seed. And the seed is your mind. Now, how you water that seed and how it takes shape is in your hand. How you make that seed look better and how you make it grow out of the ground and how you take care of it is in your hand. And by planting that seed, one day when it grows to a tree that is better than all the other trees, maybe the trees will want to look like that. And maybe then the change could happen. Maybe then the forest will change. But it all starts with one seed. Because the one seed is the only thing that you control. But the one seed matters. And the one seed can change the forest. So, let's all try to be better. Let's communicate better. Let's understand each other. And we can all make this world a better place. Because there is no fight. There is no war. If we can all overcome the war that is inside us. The true war is always inside. And the kings, the true kings, don't try to go and conquer kingdoms outside them. The greatest king conquers the kingdom inside.